Hey, yeah, Ron here. Just another short video today, a little video. I know that I keep saying that I have plans for longer and more elaborate videos, and I do, but real life keeps getting in the way of me actually making those. So, I'm just putting these out so that I don't lose my place in the algorithm, I guess, because that's how YouTube works. But, what I wanted to talk about today was not the act of the violent fascist terrorist insurrection that occurred at the Capitol on Wednesday, but rather the people who committed that act, and some misconceptions that I think that people have about them, just from being around. Where to start? I guess the thing that piqued my interest is as good a place as any to start. So there was this article from a local NBC affiliate, if I recall correctly, up in Chicago. They had found one of these people who had participated in the violent terrorist fascist insurrection that occurred in the Capitol on Wednesday, and asked him what the hell happened. And he said the sort of thing that you would expect. He said that he was kind of pressured into it, that he was very sorry, and that it wouldn't happen again. But the thing that struck me was that, according to the reporting, this guy was a CEO. He was a CEO of a security tech company. This guy had a 7-figure salary. He made tens of millions of dollars a year. And that's weird, right? Like, when you imagine a violent insurrection against the government, you don't imagine it being led by tech CEOs. You imagine something else. And that's not to diminish this guy at all. This guy could have personal problems. This guy could have physical or mental problems. This guy participated in a violent fascist terrorist insurrection against the federal government. I'm not sure that there's anything I can say that's more insulting to him than that. But it's weird. And the weirder thing is, the more you look into it, the more that seems to be a trend. One of the things that I do is I follow a lot of accounts on Facebook and on Twitter that dox fascists when they show up in public. I do this so that I can signal boost them, so that other people can find them and avoid them. Or, for example, if they are employed, their employers can find them and release them from employment. And the thing that struck me, looking through the profiles of these people who have been doxxed from the violent fascist terrorist insurrection against the United States that occurred on Wednesday, is a lot of them seemed really well off. Most of them had 6-figure salaries. Some of them, about a third of them, had 7-figure salaries. These are not the betrodden proletariat who had taken their last straw. These are really well-off people, or at least reasonably well-off people, as well-off as you can be in this economy. And it's confusing. It's confusing because people have this image in their heads of what an insurrection against the government might look like, what maybe it's supposed to look like. And what it's supposed to look like is a bunch of very poor, very beset upon people finally taking their last straw and deciding enough is enough. And that's not what happened. If anything, it's like the opposite has happened. And the opposite has happened. The opposite has happened. Okay, so all of these people were Trump supporters, right? Like, by their own admissions. They were in live streams, they were in videos. They said that they were Trump supporters and that they were there to support Trump. But isn't that weird? Trump has almost destroyed this country. There's a 9/11's worth of people dying every day, at least in part because of Trump's malfeasance. The economy almost collapsed, like, twice while he was in office. I understand why people might think that they want Trump to be in power. He makes people feel powerful. He makes people feel like they're being listened to. And the Democrats, people just don't like the Democrats. But even those people, no one who I've spoken to would go so far as to participate in a violent fascist terrorist insurrection against the United States government to support Trump. They don't like him that much. And they know how much harm he's caused to the country. So that's weird. That's weird, right? What if the people who participated in this thing were people who were profiting off of the Trump presidency, off of people's suffering? And they viewed, maybe rightly so, the chance for regular people's suffering to be alleviated, or even reduced, to be a threat to their profits. That recontextualizes a lot of what happened. The thing is, this violent fascist terrorist insurrection that they all participated in wasn't to change who was in power. It was to keep Trump in power. They were doing it to protect their profits. Why were the Capitol Police so easy on these people? Going so far as to having been recorded tearing down their own barricades and posing with some of these violent fascist terrorist insurrectionists. It's not just because they're white. It's because they're white and they could afford lawyers. It also explains how this whole thing got so far out of hand to begin with. Every one of these people is out for themselves. They came there for their own sake. They came there for their own benefit. And the thing that I really want to hammer in is that this is the difference between people on the left and people on the right. When people on the left come together, when we assemble, we're doing it for mutual benefit. We are propping each other up because we want to support each other. When the right gets together, it's every one of them for themselves. And that leads to disaster, as we have seen. So yeah, I didn't know it was possible for me to have less sympathy for a group of violent fascist terrorist insurrectionists, but now I do. And I invite you to have even less sympathy for them, because it's what they deserve. Well, that's another video done. I've said everything I mean to say. I am all sayed out. Regular links should be in the underbar. That is my Ko-Fi. If you feel comfortable sending me a couple of dollars, if you thought that this was informative or entertaining. I'm still trying to get together enough money to fix my computer, so that would be very helpful, but do not feel obligated to do so. I'm going to keep making these videos regardless of whether or not I make money from it. I don't have a working computer right now. I'm shooting these on my phone. This is something that's important to me. My Curious Cat is in the description. Don't go there. I don't have access to it. My Twitter is in the description if you want to see what kind of goofing off I'm doing on Twitter. I actually don't remember the last thing I did on Twitter. I don't think I've been on there today. I've been trying to put this together. I don't have any plans for the next video, and that's because I'm trying to become more engaged with collective action. Like, there's a bill in front of the Illinois Congress right now that would severely restrict police power here in Illinois. I think that's a good thing, and I'm going to support it. And I'm going to help other people support it as much as I can. So, the next video is probably going to be some silly thing that I read on Twitter or something. Because I'm busy with other things. Real life. Who'd have thunk? But yeah. Until we get there, take care of yourselves, alright?